Congratulations on getting started on your dropshipping business. I know this is an exciting time because dropshipping is hot right now, and it's, fairly simple to get started because you don't need as big of an investment as many other businesses. But that being said, there's obviously some frustrations that are going to come along the way, and you've probably fallen on this video and this conversation because you're at the point where you want to get started, but you're not able to accept credit cards on your dropshipping store. It's extremely frustrating to kind of build a business and go through all the motions of getting things ready. It's a lot of setup, and it's equally as frustrating when all that stuff is done. You've spent money kind of getting everything ready, even though a dropshipping business doesn't necessarily need a big investment. There is, some monetary investment involved there. And there's also, the time and building the tools that you need to get your business up and running. So ensuring that you have a credit card payment processor to accept, payments on your website is going to be likely a hurdle if you're getting started. And even if you aren't getting started and you have, a tenured business, I welcome you to listen to this because I'm going to give you some very good tips on getting approved and making sure that payment processing does not become a thorn in your business and that does not become an issue for you ongoing as you scale your dropshipping business. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the basics of getting approved and how to keep things healthy and helping you scale and so forth. And keep in mind, as always, there's a lot of frustrations when you get started in a different business venture, especially if you're not used to something. But it's important to listen to videos like this and different people having conversations about it to make sure that you're prepared and that you're able to take the right steps to avoid some common mishaps that we see often, specifically with dropshipping businesses. So the basics of getting approved for a merchant account or for payment processing is, a couple of things. I'm going to outline a couple of these things. Like, for example, do you have solid fulfillment and are your products being delivered in an acceptable time frame? So a lot of merchants, for example, in the US or merchants based in Europe get products sourced in China. Well, if it takes a month for the product to be delivered, that could be a problem, especially in a country like the US where people are kind of Amazon Prime advocates where, it's next day shipping, next day delivery. Somebody who, for example, orders from you and it takes a month for them to receive the product, by the time, they get their credit card statement in between that, they may be like, hey, what did I spend this $50 or $100 for? May not know it could result into chargebacks. So make sure you shorten that time as much as possible. Whether you have a fulfillment house in locally in the US or whether you have some expedited shipping options, because a month delivery is a recipe for disaster for your store. So before you kind of go any further and really invest in the business, make sure you find fulfillment and, product sourcing that's going to, be acceptable for your market. US, UK, Canada, it's kind of used to quick shipping times. So it's important that you understand that customers will not wait a month or will not be happy with getting a month for different products. Focus on a few key products and a few key markets. So again, drop shipping, fulfillment, and delivery times are complicated. So focus on like one or two countries, really kind of hone in on those and make sure that you're doing well in those markets and that things are easy, you've tested and it works well. And a couple of products. Having too many SKUs, you'd have to test too much. It might kind of take you down a rabbit hole where some products are getting sourced faster and others are not. So again, if you're getting started, or even if you're a tenured merchant, take a look at your SKUs, things that are not selling, remove them. Things that are taking very long to ship, remove them. Focus on what works and where you can focus your marketing dollars on. Try to make sure that you have one-time sales, not recurring orders. So if you have something that's in continuity and delays in shipping happen and so forth, that could be problematic. So a one-time sale is a lot easier to manage on a drop shipping business. You might want to have a couple of upsells to kind of, pad your initial purchase. So keep that in mind, that one-time sales always work better than recurring orders. Another very important key thing that you should keep in mind is that you have to have a clear refund policy. So if people aren't happy, You have to make sure that you make them happy or give them their money back. Do not make it too difficult. I can tell you from experience, we have a lot of merchants who are drop shippers. And if you make it difficult for your customers to contact you or difficult to get a refund, or if shipping delays happen and you don't kind of keep in constant communication with your customers, you are going to result into a slew of chargebacks and you will get shut down from your merchant account. And then it'll be very difficult for you to get another one, because it is difficult already to get one merchant account or one payment processor to work with you. If you have a bad record, it just makes things, triple, quadruple more difficult for you. So make sure that you're very clear to your customer service staff or whoever you're working with for customer service. Everything's very clearly laid out on your website that you're going to refund within, I suggest at least 60 days money back guarantee or whatever the case is. Another thing that comes up very often in terms of complaints is product quality and packaging. So when somebody gets a package at their house and it's broken up and it looks like it was, kind of taped all around and so forth, that is not going to, be a good customer experience. So especially if you're getting products shipped, from Asia, China, or whatever the case is, make sure, like I'm going to my point before, is to test, not only to test for delivery and shipping times, but test the product quality and test the packaging. If what the customer is ultimately getting doesn't work or doesn't fulfill whatever marketing angle you're going for, or if somebody gets the package and it's all torn up and so forth, that's going to result in an insane amount of chargebacks, refunds, and so forth. It's going to make you in the negative. So keep in mind, you could be selling a lot, but if your refund rate is 10 or 15% and you have a couple of percent chargebacks, you might be losing money. So these are very important things that you have to keep in mind when you're in drop shipping. It's not just about selling. It's about what your customer's getting, how they're getting it, how long it takes, and so forth, the experience. There's a negative stigma about products that are being directly shipped from China. It's not all the time, but we hear it more often from products that are being sourced in Asia, falling into the United States or to Europe and so forth. Customers are getting these packages that just look ridiculous, or the products are broken, the products are not working well. So keep in mind, if you have high chargebacks or if you're trying to get approved and you're running high on risk, this is an area you need to be looking at and really kind of hone in on your business. Now, if you're a tenured business or you're a startup, there's a couple of different options. One common place merchants go to is when they start a store, they go to Stripe, they go to PayPal, and these are not going to be good options for you. Drop shipping in general doesn't work very well with Stripe and PayPal because a couple of chargebacks or a couple of refunds coming into your account within the first week or so or within the first month, I should say, of your business will get them to kind of, freak out and not really like your business. So freeze your account, suspend it, or shut you down completely. So drop shipping, it's just really important to get your own payment solution, your own merchant account. You can, start with Stripe just so you can test a couple of things, but keep in mind, you'll have to transition very quickly from Stripe or PayPal because they're not supported business types. And it ultimately will be a problem for you if you're working with these processors. In order to get approved for a merchant account, obviously being a startup, drop shipping business with no money in the bank and not really any business experience is going to be problematic for you. So try to get a large investment or, kind of pool in your savings or whatever the case is to put it in your business bank account to show some positive history. If you have good credit, if you have some, business experience that you can kind of explain to your processor that puts you in a better position, that these things are all going to be helpful to kind of make you a better candidate to get approved for a merchant account. So don't just, go to a processor and say, hey, I'm a startup. I have nothing to show. Try to kind of pull in a couple of the things that make you a good merchant and make a processor want to support your business. So keep in mind that, payment processors are willing to listen to different reasons why they should support your business. So take that opportunity as you're applying to explain, who you are and, if you have good credit and, some investments coming and stuff like that, it will help you get approved. I said this before, I will repeat it. Test your fulfillment regularly. When I say regularly, I think a weekly test wouldn't be a bad thing for you to do. So, make sure you test it in different parts of the country or different areas that you're selling. You can't just be shipping a package to yourself because that could be different than if you're shipping it to somebody across the country or whatever the case is. So keep in mind, to have a few different addresses to test with. And it's really important that you test this and you see how the package comes in. If it has, any strange odors or anything, there's so many things that I've heard about drop shipping. I actually invite you to give me a call or to drop me a line, and I'll tell you some very funny stories about, us testing drop shipping offers and seeing what we get in the mail. And, the merchants ultimately don't even know this. So that's why I say it's important for you to know what your customers experience. So test your fulfillment. You'll learn a lot about your business if you do that. Prepare a package. So I've said this on many of my videos, but a one-pager kind of, here's the business, here's what we're doing, here's how everything works, here's the owners and what they've done in the past. Just like a one-page kind of document explaining the mechanics of your business will be very helpful for an underwriter who's getting your application, looking at it and saying, should we support this business or not? So keep in mind that, the person who's ultimately getting your application it's not a machine. So, if you're getting your own merchant account, contrary to like Stripe or PayPal, there's an actual physical person that's looking at your application and deciding whether to support it or not. So it is important that you show your best side, show that you have investment, show that you have experience, decent credit history and so forth. So keep that in mind. So it will help your chances of getting approved. As soon as you sign up, for example, for a Stripe account, you should already start looking for a merchant account if you're in a drop shipping business. Don't just be like, oh, Stripe's working, because Stripe, as we all know, can be temperamental and can shut down your account with a moment's notice. So don't get too comfortable if you're working with a third-party processor, and make sure that you have some options on the horizon. A few key things to remember is, once you're up and running and things are kind of working well, and I'll do some more videos about this after to kind of give you some more tips, but keep your chargebacks to a minimum. Chargebacks are going to happen in this business. We all know this, but keep them to a minimum. Try to have a chargeback alert service, have some fraud prevention tools, use the fraud prevention tools in your gateway, 3D Secure, whatever can, help without, causing an issue in conversions. There's a lot of really cool tools out there for fraud prevention that will really not change the customer experience, will not have a huge effect on your conversions. So use them, be preventative, because it will save you a lot of heartache later on. You don't want to, only start taking these measures once you've been shut down from your merchant account. You want to get these things in place so you just don't have to worry about merchant processing. And essentially working with Direct PayNet or anybody you decide to work with should just be, we should not really be a big part of your business. We should just be helping your business, and you shouldn't have to think about us as payment processors. This is the last thing that people really want to be thinking about, is accepting credit cards. So, keep in mind to put the measures in place to make sure that you never have to think about payment processing, and that it just works, because that's what the ultimate goal is. Remember that if you're in dropshipping business, reserves are going to likely be necessary, just because this industry is known for higher chargebacks. So most processors, if they support it, will demand a 10% reserve. The most common structure is 10% for 6 months. So they'll hold 10% of whatever you process for 6 months, reassess later on. Oftentimes that 10% stays on for a while, because chargebacks are usually higher in this industry than most others. Last but not least, beware of copycat products and ensure that you differentiate your products, because bad reviews. So a lot of people who are selling dropshipping products are selling similar products to other people. So if somebody else's product is getting bad reviews and you call your product the same thing, or it's very similar, or whatever the case is, that will have a negative impact on you. So for example, you are applying for a merchant account, and the underwriter who's looking at your file looks at it and says, hey, this product has a ton of bad reviews. We don't want to support that product. So make sure that your product is differentiated, that, if you can change the name and Google the names of your products to see what people are saying about them. If they're saying negative things, this is not going to bode well for you in general, because Customers also, once they order from you, they might Google the product and they might start reading up about it and get nervous about it and be like, hey, I don't, why did I spend this money? Everybody says this product sucks and so forth. So drop shipping is a great business to get into. It's fast and easy, meaning it takes little investment, little time in comparison to some other businesses that require more planning. But negative reviews have plagued this industry and will plague you for a long time for getting banking, merchant processing, and clients to trust you. So keep that in mind. It's, a different product is probably your best bet. And if you can call it something else versus a name it's commonly called, it's probably going to serve you well. I hope you found this video useful. Please like, subscribe, and share. We have weekly content that really kind of talks about a lot of different things regarding merchant processing, direct response, and so forth. I welcome your feedback. I'm very thankful to have you listening to my video, and I hope you have a great day.